mamas, welcome to exercise week. So in this video I am going to show you, give you my hints and cues for squats, lunges, and a goddess squat. So this is all for regaining strength in our glutes. This can help relieve low back pain and prevent low back pain. It's also essential in postpartum because during pregnancy we tend to lose strength in our glutes. So the first thing I recommend is starting with squats. And a squat doesn't have to be this huge big movement. It actually should start as a very small movement. Usually at a counter, I like to do it at my sink in my bathroom. And so before I'm lining up, I'm having my feet a little bit wider than hip distance. So remember, hip distance is your two hands next to each other, so I'm a little bit wider than that. And I'm checking where my pelvis is, making sure I'm not anteriorly tilted or posteriorly tilted, that I'm in neutral. So again, finding the sticky outy bones, finding your pubic bone, getting them in line. And then looking forward, holding, but not using our arm strength for anything. The holding is just to kind of counterbalance. And you're starting to come down. Notice the curve in my spine stays present. So I'm coming to a small squat. And then as I push up, I exhale. I push through my big toes, but more weight is in my heels. And I come back up. So as I'm coming down, I'm trying to imagine that I'm going to sit in a chair, okay? Notice I'm going to back up a little. Notice where my knees are. They're not tracking forward. They're staying over my heels as much as possible. When I look down, I should be able to see my big toes. I come down to wherever I'm comfortable. And then as I push up, I exhale, push through my heels and big toes. That big toe push helps connect to your deep core. So down is good, best on the inhale, up, exhale, okay? When you return to the top, watch what I don't do with my hips. Top, okay? And now this would be wrong. And watch the difference. Notice the thrust, okay? We don't want to be thrusting. That throws our hips out of neutral and overarches our back. So we want to be stopping at neutral, right there. None of this, okay? And as I come down, I'm making sure I'm maintaining the curves of my spine. So I'm not sticking out really far. And I'm not tucking and losing that curve. Okay, so this might look initially very good, but actually I'm very tucked here, so I need to untuck. And this is if I'm sticking out, I'm anteriorly tilting. So we want to stay in neutral throughout the squat. All right, so you don't need to be going very far down. This could be all where you're going to start. Doing 10 reps right here. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. And as you're getting stronger, you may be able to go lower. How far down you go is not as important as the quality of how you're doing it. So another position that is great at developing glute strength is your lunges. So a simple basic lunge right here, I think the warrior sequences are a great place to start. So with the lunge, a few check-ins. First off, I'm not doing a huge lunge right here to start. This is the progression. I'm going to start very comfortably. Knee is tracking over ankles, not over toes. Okay, my heel in the back is flat. This is a warrior one pose. And I'm checking to see, are my hips maintaining in neutral? Or do they go into anterior, or am I over tucking? Okay, and you can play with it here and see what happens. That's okay. But before you start moving, or doing something more dynamic, twisting, whatever it might be, we want to make sure we're tracking straight ahead, that this hip's not slicing, what I call slicing open. So if I switch my legs here, other way, so this is correct, pointing forward. Hips are in neutral. Actually, I had to give a little bit of a fix there. I was actually a little bit in posterior tilt, and now I'm neutral. Okay, if my hips are slicing, I'd be going this way. Okay, another common mistake is you are on tight roping. So that's where like your front foot and back foot are in line. That's really hard on your balance. So you don't need to tight rope. You can be approximately hip width apart, and that's going to help this feel more natural. So just coming in to a lunge, like so. And as you step out, I'm going to push into my front leg, and on the exhale, engage my core, and step forward, and back. Okay, I'm keeping my hands on my I can keep my hands on my hips, I can put it on my waist, checking in that I'm not tilting. Ever you think you're having trouble maintaining that good alignment. Okay? So a lot of things you can do here, and as you get more comfortable, you can extend it further. You can open it up. When I open it up, my foot is changing position. I'm lunging here. This is where yoga is wonderful. I'm doing some dynamic movements. Down. This is all lunging. So I love yoga for returning to movement. It's just the basics of that basic lunge really needs to be established first. You need to feel solid and stable. Okay, so the goddess squat. So that's really a progression from that more traditional squat. Goddess squat is wide-legged. We are trying to stay into a neutral pelvis as well, and coming down like here. So it might be really shallow. That was a little deep. Maybe right here. So when we're in this position, we're making sure we're maintaining neutral. I tend to tuck, so I was in a posterior tilt. I just checked. My pubic bone is in front of my hip bone. Boop. Now I'm neutral. Okay. Other thing I want to watch out for is my knees are pushing back. They're not going to be able to move that much. But as soon as I try to open my knees, I activate my glutes, and you're gonna feel that quick, okay? So you could do just little movements here. You could come down lower and up. So again, it's still inhale on the way down. Exhale, push through the heels and big toes on the way up. Okay, side view, wide-legged. Not too wide or you're gonna have trouble getting up. Okay, check your hips, coming down, just little squat. Or I can do little pulses. You can also do pulses with your legs out. So it's gonna look like this. Pulse out. You're gonna feel that in your glutes really quick. Make sure you're keeping that neutral pelvis. And my butt's burning. Okay? So it can go real low, go real shallow. Wherever you're at is where you're supposed to be at. So don't over-challenge yourself too early. Progress slowly to the more challenging positions. All right, I hope you found that helpful. I'll see you tomorrow at day 2.